If you have been told that breakers get all of the loaded boxes, then you have been told a lie. If you have been told that influencers get all of the loaded boxes, then you too have been told a lie. Or so says a new audit of Topps that has given them a clean bill of health for fairness and honesty. But do we believe it? Or is there more going on behind the scenes? We'll give you all of the details and debate now. Hello, sports card investors, and welcome to another episode of Cards on the Table. Teapot Doug. We got a lot to talk about today. We got this crazy Topps audit, possibly debunking conspiracy theories, but we're going to debate that in just a moment. We've also got Alt suing PWCC, which is now Fanatics Collect. We've got crazy grading numbers. We've got a mess up by Topps on these Bowman red rookies. Pretty bad mess up. All kinds of stuff to get into. Let's start with this top story right off the bat of this Topps audit. So we know, because we're on social media and Reddit and we see what people say in our YouTube comments, that people constantly believe that breakers get loaded boxes, that influencers get loaded boxes. There is not a video that I have ever done where I have opened up a box of cards, where I have pulled something big, that there were not at least 10 or 20 or 50 comments that said, oh, Topps sent Jeff the loaded influencer box, right? Now, of course, it's funny because more often than not, when I open up the boxes, I don't get anything, but that gets ignored, right? The second I pull something big, loaded box, influencer box, Topps is rigged, it's all a scam, the influencers get all the big cards, the breakers get all the big cards, only breakers can pull the big cards, the whole thing is fake. You hear it all the time. Well, Topps got sick and tired of hearing it. So Topps hired KPMG, a very well-respected, one of the big accounting firms. They do a lot of top audits for, all the big corporations around the globe. And KPMG came out and they conducted a year-long audit from April 1st of 2024 through March 31st of 2025. Now, Topps talked about this recently at the industry conference in Atlanta. They gave the results. There's also been reporting on this by Ben Burrows of Collect as well. And the audit confirmed, KPMG confirmed, that Topps does randomly insert high value cards, that they do not direct specific cards in or packs or specific cards in packs to particular customers, and that they maintain proper quality control and impartial distribution. And the president of Topps Trading Cards, David Leinert, said, quote, "Trust us. We have no idea where anything goes. And in fact, don't only trust us, KPMG actually just validated for the past 12 months that everything is completely random. And that's paramount for the success of our business, that collectors know and understand that they have a chance to pull all of the greatest hits out there." Now, it's worth also noting, KPMG's actually done 3 audits. This is the third. They did one back in 2023, heading into early 2024. They did a special audit of the Topps Now Olympic triple auto 1 of 1, which still has never surfaced, but KPMG says it was out there somewhere. And now KPMG has done their most comprehensive audit to date of the last year of Topps randomization practices. So my question for you guys, does this convince you that boxes are fairly distributed and that anybody can actually pull anything? Or Teapot, are you going to put your tinfoil hat on and tell me that breakers and influencers are still getting loaded boxes despite what KPMG says? How do you feel about this?
Well, I just heard you right before this hit some kind of blue-eyed fancy cat from VFriends or some crazy thing. So I don't know, Jeff, but I want to say something. I got to give Topps credit for this audit, for ponying up, paying the money to do the right thing, to have an independent company like KPMG do an audit. The article from Ben Burrows said that the quote was, "reasonable assurance that specific high-value cards were not directed into specific packs." So it's not a guarantee. The other big thing is, they had a little fireside chat panel during the TOPS conference. Michael Rubin, Mike Mahan, David Leinert, they were all on stage. And one of the local card shop owners asked a question about this topic and said, we got a lot of people who are concerned that they don't even have a fair shake. What do you say to that? I don't even remember who answered the question, but basically what they said is that the audit is of their system and their process. There are not specific audits done of individual products. So they're saying, we believe we've audited your process and it checks out. They're not in there like as a secret shopper or a secret warehouse employee, like making sure nothing shady is going on. So it would be really nice if we could learn more about the specifics of the audit. I don't think that's ever going to happen, but this is a big reputable company, like you said. We have seen some situations where cases have gotten to breakers that were like, I think, accidentally loaded cases where they hit an auto in every pack, or if it's Panini, we see them hit a downtown in every pack or things like this. Though that, to my knowledge, TOPS never came out and said, yeah, we meant to do that. So somehow there's still a flaw in the process that means things get somewhere. Does that mean that TOPS is risking literally a multi-billion-dollar industry and empire to try to funnel something off to some breaker or somebody else? Absolutely not. I really don't think that's the case. Now, all of this is different than the situation we talked about 2-3 years ago now, when Backyard Breaks hit a disproportionate, statistically impossible number of the top one-of-ones from the best products in a given run. I think it was 2023, hitting like every key player's nebula, every flawless one-of-one, everything. And I just broke down the math and said, I think this could be submitted in a court of law as some funny business. Who did it? How it happened? I have no idea. That wasn't TOPS, it was Panini, and to that end, I would really like to see Panini adopt a similar audit process and get that out. It gives me more peace of mind. I'm sure a lot of people in the comments will say I'm, shilling for TOPS by saying that, but I appreciate it. I think it's a good thing.
Doug, does this relax you? Do you feel at peace now that when you go buy a hobby box of V-Friends, like I know you're going to do tonight, I'm sure, that you have the chance of pulling the I don't know,
yeah.
what the
frenzied ferret.
Yes, the
Is that real?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
the alpha alligator.
Is that real?
It is real. The alpha alligator
Superfractor.
Yeah, I've never had any doubts in this. I mean, of course it's legit. Why wouldn't it be? What would TOPS stand to gain by rigging the product for a specific individual or specific breaker or whatever? It's not like they need extra marketing. It's not like if they funnel it to this person, it's going to create extra hype. They're not struggling to sell boxes. They're going to sell out of it, whatever they put online.
Yeah.
There would be no sort of gain for them to get from this, right? You have to look at what's long-term at stake, and that's the integrity of the company. You can't sacrifice that for maybe just a short-term moment. That's like something one of these, bad breakers would do, or internet scammers would do. It's very short-sighted. So I've never had any doubts in that process. However, I've talked about this on this show before, the documentary McMillions, which is the McDonald's Monopoly scam.
Yep.
So the security person, the guy they hired to audit the process, was the guy that rigged it for almost a decade. So I can safely eliminate TOPS as a company from doing this.
Somebody at KPMG.
You can never rule out an individual bad actor who has the right access from doing something crazy. So the conspiracy lives on.
That is the good point, though, right?
It's fair. It's fair.
If people are going to get all bent out of shape and believe that there's something nefarious going on, I really don't think it should be directed at TOPS.
Right.
There could be somebody on the inside doing something, especially if somebody had direct knowledge of how those audits are taking place to skirt around it. Sure. But Doug's absolutely right. There's nothing to gain.
Yeah, and I think a lot of conspiracy theories, whether they're hobby conspiracy theories or elsewhere, they die on the vine when you think through the business implications of what it would mean. And as you guys said, TOPS is now a multi-billion-dollar company, multi-billion. They're not going to risk that for, backdooring some loaded boxes to a particular breaker or even a particular athlete or celebrity. It's not worth it in the grand scheme of things. But as you said, that doesn't mean that there couldn't be some bad apples somewhere along the way who don't have the same stake in the game, and they're not dealing in the billions. Maybe they're a lower paid employee somewhere on an assembly line or in a shipping warehouse or whatever. That could theoretically happen. Now, I'm hoping that TOPS process is thorough enough where they have checks and balances across all the employees. I do know that a few years ago, Topps had hired a former FBI agent to be in charge of internal security and to ensure like that kind of stuff couldn't happen. So I know they're at least, I don't think any system is foolproof.
Yeah.
But I know they're at least putting forth the resources to take it seriously and to want to show the hobby that they're taking it seriously. And I think that that's what they've done here.
Yeah.
And I think that
Former FBI because he was stealing from the FBI. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah,
I don't know.
Good.
You know who else takes transparency seriously? Arena Club. What a segue we've got here, guys, because Arena Club, with their slab packs, they show you the complete checklist of every card you could possibly pull and the odds that you're going to pull every single card so you know you're getting a fair deal. And by the way, Arena Club is also third-party audited.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
Yeah.
Their whole process of randomizing the slab packs is third-party audited. So let's rip a couple, and we're going to see. Well, let's go with Teapot first here. What did you rip, Teapot?
Football Emerald.
All right, Fo, this could be a nice pack
go.
here. These football
Let's
emeralds
go.
are nice.
Ooh.
Oh, what the heck?
Whoa.
What the heck is that?
That's a
That's a
Jamar Chase
rookie.
RPA.
Out of
That's
3?
that's an RPA
Oh
of
my
3.
gosh.
What product is that?
Dude, that is a
totally
hit.
certified?
Yeah, certified.
That is a hit.
Wow.
That is a HIT hit. That is ridiculous.
All right.
And
That has
out
to be,
of 3
That's sick.
RPA.
That's the best card I've hit
has to
so
be one
far.
of the chase cards.
You
Yeah.
got to get KPMG
That's
in
good.
here right now, because
Yeah.
whatever
Yeah.
happened right there,
Loaded Arena
we need
Club.
KPMG to certify it. Oh my goodness. Okay, all right, Doug, let's rip one
nice.
for you.
Yeah.
Which one do you have here,
Basketball
Doug?
for me.
All right, basketball for
Got
Doug.
the playoff fever.
Let's go.
Is that downtown?
Ooh, Scotty
Downtown.
Barnes.
Beauty.
Is that
Scotty
rookie
Barnes
year?
downtown.
There's
That's a rookie.
2021, Scotty
a rookie.
Barnes.
That is rookie
Yeah,
year. There's no
that's his
rookie
rookie.
card badge on it.
Yeah.
I love
That-
1-and-1 downtowns because of the color match. So yeah, Scotty Barnes downtown rookie.
That's
You
nice.
guys, this is wild.
Okay.
What you guys are doing here. You know what?
That's nice.
I'm going to do mine in real time
Okay.
here. I right now, I'm going right on my laptop. You guys have inspired. I wasn't even going to do one today.
Yeah.
But I'm literally right now checking out on my laptop on Arena Club.
Getting in the action.
And, oh no, I timed out. Of course I timed out. Of course. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no.
What have you
All
done?
right. I'll tell you what, while I'm doing this, we're going to remind the audience that Arena Club has weekly auctions now as well, and you can sell your own cards on Arena Club very easily. It's a great place to sell your cards as well in their weekly auctions. All right, look at this. Here we go. Complete order. We're about to rip another slab pack.
Let's go.
You got a baseball slab
Okay,
pack.
baseball.
I did baseball. I did Emerald baseball because you guys did the other stuff. Here it is.
Okay.
Tell me how I did.
Okay, all
Tell
right,
me how I
all
did.
right,
We're going to
all
bring it
right.
up for the audience right now, too. The drama, the suspense.
Looks old.
Oh.
What'd I get? What'd I get?
Ooh, just a little Willie the Kid.
Oh,
Willie Mays.
really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Really?
Wow.
64.
1964
I've never even-
Willie Mays top stand-up
I've never seen that.
in PSA 5. That's a cool card.
That's very unique.
I've never seen that either.
Very
All right, guys,
unique.
if you want to get in on these slab packs, promo code SEI20 gets you 20% off your first purchase of slab packs. Just download the Arena Club app and then use promo code SEI20 for 20% off these slab packs. Okay, let's jump into our next story, guys. We spoke nicely about Topps a few minutes ago. Now we got a problem, okay? So this concerns Bowman, which actually just released yesterday, the new Bowman baseball. And last week we talked about the red rookie redemptions in Bowman, these short print Bowman rookie cards that were going to have a red rookie card logo. That was going to be the short print element. And those cards would unlock the potential of getting prizes, right? And what it was is that if you get a red rookie card logo of a player and that player wins Rookie of the Year this year, you can turn it in for $100 in Fanatics fan cash, which can be used towards breaks on Fanatics Live, or you can use it on Fanatics.com or on Fanatics Collect. So people are looking out for this. They're excited, right? And there was extras to it as well. If the player wins Rookie of the Year and then goes on and wins MVP or Cy Young, there's all these multipliers that could happen, right? 35 players in the checklist have these red rookie card logos. There's a problem, Teapot and Doug. 8 of the 35 are ineligible to win Rookie of the Year. They're not eligible to win. Specifically, if you pull a red rookie card logo of a player like James Wood, one of the big guys, by the way, James Wood, people are looking for his cards, or Connor Norby, or Brooks Lee, or David Festa, or several others, Ben Rice, actually another big one on that list, Ben Rice. If you pull one of their cards and you get the red logo, you're going to be excited because you're going to say those guys have a chance maybe at Rookie of the Year, and then you're going to realize they're ineligible for Rookie of the Year because they played too many games last season.
That's right.
How did Topps not realize this before printing the cards and giving them red rookie logos and announcing this promotion in the first place? Teapot, I'm going to start with you.
I think this has to be like a timing issue is what they would say with the Rookie of the Year eligibility. At the same time, we know they're able to produce Topps Update and Topps Chrome Update every year with players who have been traded during the season and rookies who got called up during the year. So I don't actually believe that like that lead time could be the thing. They obviously took a subset of the rookies and put them into this red checklist. At the same time, I feel like this wasn't rolled out particularly clearly. Last week I was a defender of this whole thing, right? I said I thought it was actually a good idea. I got a lot of backlash in the comments of people saying, "Oh, you must have to say nice things about Topps," and I always say what I think. I'm allowed to do that. This would be worse to me if players who were like the front runners or who would go on to win Rookie of the Year didn't have one of these. From what I understand, they're going to have other ones throughout the year that might get inserted into other products.
Interesting.
Like maybe into Bowman Chrome, but that would be a bigger issue. I'll say what I said last week about this. You're still getting a short printed rookie card of the same player, of James Wood, or of Ben Rice. So it's not really that big of a deal, but it's confusing, to your point. The bigger issue that I have, and I learned this week, and I'm going to ask right now, I would say, Topps, I really think you should change this if you can, is that you're not eligible for these redemptions if the player didn't win Rookie of the Year with the other awards,
Correct.
the other rewards.
Correct.
Last week when we were talking about this, I had it in my head that if Tarek Skubal had one of these rookie cards last year, I could have redeemed it for $300 because he won the Cy Young. He didn't win Rookie of the Year, so he wouldn't be eligible for that. So when you start layering the probabilities here, I bet you could go back in time and look. There's probably been like 3 players who hit all of these milestones ever, if even that. Winning 3 Cy Youngs or 3 MVPs, very, very difficult on top of Rookie of the Year. If you do those things, you're pretty much a lock to make the Hall of Fame probably.
Does
if you
Trout
win 3.
Trout did that?
Did Trout win Rookie of the Year?
I feel like he did.
Or Bryce Harper? I don't know, but he's definitely won 3
Siri.
MVPs.
See what Siri says.
But anyway, it's just I think it needs to. I think if you hold one of these long enough, and the player wins a Cy Young or an MVP, they should pay it out, regardless of whether they hit the preceding Rookie of the Year. Now, obviously, you can't win 2 MVPs or Cy Youngs without having won the first. But even if that player were to go on and make the Hall of Fame later down the road, like pay it out, even if they never hit any of those other milestones or they weren't redeemed. I think they have to do that. Otherwise, this just feels like, it honestly does, I think the word feel like a gimmick. It feels like a way to get people excited about a whole lot of nada, when in reality, I just thought, I could speculate on some of these guys that I think have long-term odds. And Jacob Wilson might win Rookie of the Year, but he's probably not going to win any MVP awards. He's not a power player, so it's just not in the cards. No pun intended.
Yeah, it's maybe a little complicated with all those extra things layered on. Keeping it just focused on Rookie of the Year might have been the more simple, better way to go. I don't know. What's your take on all this, Doug?
A quarter of the checklist is ineligible
for
the actual redemption of the checklist?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
interesting.
That's not great.
That's a weird move.
About 20%, but yes.
Okay.
Yeah, not great.
So the timing of this, I assume there's a very set number of games a player can play in a year before they're ineligible to win Rookie of the Year the following year, right? Like there's probably, it's a set number.
Yes.
So there was no surprise when each of these players reached that exact number that they would not be eligible for this year's Rookie of the Year.
Yep.
So I don't really find any excuses in that. I just don't. I feel like there's plenty of time to get that right. So that begs the question to me, who's in charge of this? Who is the person that put this list together, and how did they do that? Like, what was their resource for choosing the players that would be eligible for this promotion? Because that's a huge miss, and I think they immediately need to figure that whole process out and not make that mistake again. And you're completely correct on that. Your take that they should remove the Rookie of the Year prerequisite for the subsequent rewards for Cy Young, MVP, Hall of Fame. That never really tracked for me either. That didn't make a ton of sense. What I hope Topps does with this is they did a pretty good job of spreading awareness of this program, right? We saw this on a lot of different media channels. I hope they have that same energy for telling people that the players that are ineligible for this award. Because I would hate to see some collector who doesn't know what's going on going out there buying 50 James Woods hoping that he's winning.
Well, they had it on their Topps Instagram the first one hit was James Wood. That was the
brag
first
about
one
it?
they highlighted on their page. That was very confusing.
Yeah.
I don't
That's
know.
a bummer.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, back to the drawing board. I thought the idea of the promotion was good.
It is.
The MVP buyback, huge hit with Topps Chrome Baseball, right? So now they're trying to bring it to Bowman, but focus on the rookies instead of the MVPs. Yeah. I love that idea. It's a great idea to have the short print cards with a higher dollar amount. I think it's a great idea. I just think they messed up on the checklist, and I think they made it too complicated by trying to get into the MVPs and the Cy Youngs and the Hall of Fame. Yeah. Just keep it focused on Rookie of the Year. Yeah. Keep it dead simple. That way everybody knows, what they're going for, and it's not a multi-year thing. It's just,
I think the concept is good. The execution could have been better, and maybe hopefully make that correction so you can redeem these later and then fine-tune it.
Fine-tune it for future years. All right. I'll tell you what the execution is good on, guys. Look at this from BCW. Do you know what this is?
I want that.
Do you know what this is?
Of course.
This is really nice. This is their Safe Sort card sorting tray. In fact, let me pass this over to you guys. 26 alphabetized slots. So this helps you sort your cards alphabetically very, very quickly. From A to Z, the spots are all labeled. It is durable. It is acid-free. Sturdy commercial-grade plastic, card-friendly design with smooth edges so your card corners and edges don't get dinged. It can be used for sports. It can be used for TCG. It is made for every collector. I think it's pretty sweet. You guys like that?
You gonna let me take that one home?
I literally just did a video, another video showing how to sort cards and how to, kind of collate everything, and had a different companies that I've had for years, and I had to put masking tape with the letters on it. Like the video that went out 2 weeks ago, literally. So when I saw this product, I said,
Safe Sort card sorter.
I never knew.
There you go, guys. And if you want 10% off that or any of thousands of different card supplies, from top loaders to penny sleeves to magnetic card holders and so much more, it is all available on bcwsupplies.com. Promo code SCI. 10% off everything on bcwsupplies.com. Okay, next story. It's a big one. Alt has sued PWCC Fanatics Collect, alleging shill bidding. This was a lawsuit that they filed at this point just over a week ago. Alt is alleging that PWCC, now Fanatics Collect, but this was back before Fanatics bought them, engaged in shill bidding between 2021 and 2023. They had internal and external sources that were inflating auction prices, and private max bids that people were putting in on cards were allegedly accessed. Alt is now seeking over $13 million worth of damages. Alt claims that it bought 707 cards from PWCC during that time period, totaling close to $11 million, and they claim they lost at least $4.5 million on those $11 million worth of cards that they bought. Now, the reason they believe they lost all this money is not because of the fact that maybe the market went down, or because of the fact that maybe they made some bad purchases along the way or overpaid, but because of the fact that they were shill bid and somehow still bought the items at a higher price and then lost $4.5 million. Apparently, that is what Alt is saying. And by the way, they're saying this happened on some really premier cards. They're claiming that the 2018 National Treasures Luka Logoman 1/1 went unpaid at $3.12 million. They're claiming that the 2017 Prism Mahomes Gold out of 10 PSA 10, they paid $528,000 for that, and they claim they were shill bid way up on that card. I don't know. Fanatics Collect is denying these allegations, saying that they are baseless. They also, of course, remind everybody that all of this happened prior to Fanatics taking over in May of 2023, but they did an internal review that found no supporting evidence. What do you make of this? I'm going to start with you on this one, Doug.
2021 all over again.
Yeah.
So this isn't the first time we've heard this, right? If you go back to 2021, when PWCC was a seller on eBay, a very big seller on eBay.
The biggest.
They were kicked off of eBay for alleged shill bidding, according to eBay. But eBay didn't pursue that any further. They didn't bring charges against them or anything like that. They just removed them from the platform, which then, if I recall, led PWCC to say, well, obviously we didn't do any shill bidding, or they would have evidence and they could, prosecute us or whatever. What they're doing is they're kicking us off preemptively because we're developing our own platform and we're going to be their competitor.
Yep.
But someone did sue PWCC in that time frame, and it got immediately dismissed. They sued them for shill bidding. shill bidding, and it got immediately, we have to bleep that out.
We'll bleep that out. We'll bleep that out.
And it got immediately dismissed. It didn't go anywhere. And what's interesting about this case that could be different is Alt saying, and I've read, through Paul Lesko's whole live reading of this, Alt saying they received information that this whole thing had been going down from 2021 to 2023. And what that means is the make or break of this entire case, right? If they can prove how they received that information and that information is legit. Another part of that I thought was really interesting is, again, this is a quote from the documents. Alt learned PWCC senior executives communicated within PWCC that high net worth bidders participated, presenting a golden opportunity to set new record comp sales. So the alleged group of insiders here, I think the document says there were 6 insiders that they label Group 1, were conspiring every time that they saw a high net worth bidder in an auction, would then see this as an opportunity to create a new record, which would be great promotion for them, and nefarious deeds were then happening. I'll be curious to see what kind of proof comes out of this if it goes past the motion to dismiss. I would be looking at people's LinkedIn trails maybe at that point to see.
Interesting.
To see something.
To see where people maybe previously worked and what information they might have. What do you think about this, Teapot?
Doug covered a lot of my notes. I would say there is concern, from a technical perspective, that somebody running an auction software, proprietary auction software, has visibility to know what the existing max bid is on a card, and to drive something up to that. To that end, if I were to bring in a KPMG or somebody else to audit, I would expect those max bids to have to be encrypted in the database to where you cannot actually see those values. Just that's an overall concern, and if I were own a big auction house, I would want to have that in place for my own peace of mind. Again, back to the point of maybe the top person who owns the company or runs it isn't the one doing it, but somebody else inside with the right security access could get that information, or somebody that's just highly incentivized to get big auction values would have some incentives. So they're seeking $13.7 million as a payout, which is obviously significantly more. They want punitive damages and all kinds of stuff. I guess we'll see how this plays out. If I were Alt and I were going down this path, I'd want to make absolutely sure my own track record is squeaky clean. And I'm not saying it, I don't have any information on anything, but anytime I see lawsuits like this come up, I always think about discovery, countersuits, and other third-party class action lawsuits. So this hits the headlines, there's no way it's not going to. What if somebody out there feels that they were wronged legitimately or falsely by Alt and kind of goes, well, you know what? I'm going to go after them now. I don't know. I don't know how all that could ultimately play out. So, and again, I'm just saying this more generically than with any specific accusation. But
yeah, if it's proven true, then it's got to turn into a class action suit, right? I probably bought, from 2021 to 2023, I think I probably bought $1 million worth of cards off of PWCC, probably more.
Yeah.
So if this is true, where's my piece of the pie? Who shielded me?
High net worth bidder.
Who shielded me? Man.
It was me.
I knew I never should have paid that much for those Will Greers. I knew it. I knew it. Yeah. Once the bid went over $12, I was like, I should really drop out of this. Something weird's going on. But I went all the way up to $16, and look at me. I was probably shill bid.
Should have bought Kyler Murray.
Gotcha. All right. Well, let's talk about grading numbers. Oh, before we do, guys, I'm going to drop a link in the comments below. Our new TCG channel just launched.
Yes. Yeah.
Shout out to our video team. We just launched a channel called TCG HQ. It is going to be tutorials on how to play today's most popular TCG games. The first one that is now live is Star Wars Unlimited. So if you have any interest in that, it's amazing. The video, go watch it right now. We'll put a link below. Okay, grading industry update, April highlights. These are based on numbers from Sports Collectors Daily. By the way, shout out to Sports Collectors Daily for reporting on the last topic as well. Okay, let me throw some stats at you guys. Tell me what stands out at you the most, okay? Total number of graded cards across PSA, SGC, Beckett, and CGC for April, 2.125 million. That's up 8% versus March. 1.56 million of those were PSA. That is a new all-time high record for PSA. Beckett, the only one in decline. 57,000 cards graded. They are down 17% from the month previously. Most graded set by PSA was 2024 Prism Football. Most graded player by PSA was Jaden Daniels. And here's maybe the kicker to all of this. 62% of all cards graded in April are TCG. And that is more than double where it was last April, a year ago. Crazy numbers. Teapot, what jumped out at you the most?
Well, first off, what jumps out at me is that there are a lot more people in the hobby than any estimates that anybody has provided to this point. Way more. I think the GameStop thing we've talked about has brought a lot of new people in. I think that's been the gateway to a lot of this TCG grading. The sets that Pokemon has coming out with this Team Rocket, there's one that's coming out that's going to have like an illustration rare or a special illustration rare for every single card in the checklist, which has never been done. That set's going to be graded to the moon. So all of that stuff is, I think, just very much here to stay. But there's got to be a lot of people out there. You don't have 2+ million cards graded every month without having, I think, many, many millions of people collecting and trading in this space. So I'd like to just see some updated numbers, from a reputable market research on just how many people are estimated to be in the hobby at this point, whether sports cards or otherwise. And that's, I don't know, that's kind of my thoughts.
So the overall volume jumped out at Teapot. What jumped out to you the most, Doug?
Well, it's hard to ignore that while PSA is setting records for the most cards ever graded in a month, Beckett is going in decline. It's really hard to ignore that. What was it? They're down 17% just from March.
Since March, 9% year over year down, yeah.
Yeah, that's something to raise some concern. I know they have a new ownership group, and maybe they want to start, fixing some problems there. The big news being the TCG for me. 62% of all cards graded were TCG, and that kind of blew me away. Obviously, I know that TCG is red hot right now, and we talk a lot about the junk slab era. Now you have to start thinking about TCG in that vein, in the junk slab era. And for me, I'm starting to wonder how much of this current TCG boom, because again, it's red hot, how much of that is a bubble that's going to be ready to pop as soon as all of these, pop counts go through the roof. That's something that I'd be concerned with if I was a big TCG collector. And, I think those things are printed pretty heavily, and they're not super, super rare. So once people start getting integrating and those pop counts start going really, really high, I would be a little concerned if I was, getting into the TCG market right now at its probably peak.
Yeah, those are big numbers. The TCG 62% stands out to me as well.
Yeah, there's just the thing about TCG, and think about something like Pokemon, is it's very accessible at the price point. Even though it is massively inflated compared to a year ago, it's still not these super, 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 super rare cards, which means people who collect and want their cards graded go after those special illustration rares and other things, and they don't get super expensive because there are quite a few of them, but not to the point of being far too many to where supply outweighs demand. At least with these sets, I'm sure some people will think that's not true, but those are the rarest cards in the product. So if you want something from it and it's a character you collect, you're going to want that card. So having a whole bunch of, even if it's 2, 3, 5,000, 10,000 even of the most popular card from a set of a Charizard or something, people are going to want to collect it. So it's going to be really interesting.
Good points. It's going to be interesting to see where it all goes. Good job today, gentlemen.
Thank you.
I feel like this was an hour-long episode.
This was a long episode, but hey, good job to you for sticking with us, and also good job to you for taking advantage of that promotion at Arena Club. Promo code SCI20. Go rip your slab packs right now with promo code SCI20 on the Arena Club app. We appreciate you watching. Thank you for your support, and we'll see you soon with our next episode. Take care.